Realm, IKB, is currently undefeated in the Ionia Group 3-0, while Team Death Realm is 1-2. So looking to get back to an even scoreline, while the Imperial Knights look to continue their reign of terror throughout this group. I'm Jarl Carl, alongside the illustrious and wonderful Axeman87.
What's up, guys? It's Axeman87, and yeah, we got TDR versus, oh god, what was the other team? IKB. It's IKB. That's what it is. And we're right into Pro Draft here. A couple bands already coming out for you. We got Ornn taken away, and a couple strange ones here, Carl.
Yeah, there's definitely some little bit more unusual bans. Yuumi taken out, Lulu taken out. So some of those shielding supports removed from the table. Diana, a bit of a counter ban or a pocket pick ban, I guess, and Vladimir also. So a couple of mid laners not going to be available on this one, as we are now into the pick. Set's been picked up, and the Senna responding on the other side. That has been buffed in this last patch. We are on the live patch, so 10.12 it is for us here. Senna a little bit stronger, getting some more souls on kill. So 80 carry Senna has picked up in popularity just a little bit on this patch. It's not a huge buff to her. I have played it a couple times. I don't find it to be that much better, but it definitely is stronger than it used to be, so we'll see how that works out. The Monkey's been picked up as well. Wukong probably in the top lane to face that set down. I've been told that's a reasonably favorable matchup for the Wukong, or at least one that he can survive in. And clearly a very strong champion. You can get up to 4 Cyclones with that champion at this point. So pretty strong team fight control, CC, and just a lot of damage, right? I had a 1 in 5 Wukong 1v1 me yesterday on 80 carry, and that felt really bad. So pretty strong champion coming through, and a nice pickup for Team Death Realm.
Yeah, that does sound pretty bad. And yeah, you were mentioning the Senna buffs, and there are a lot of moving pieces in the bot lane right now. A lot of champions got small buffs. Obviously, there were item changes as well. So I think you probably hit the nail right on the head. That Senna is a little bit better, but it almost depends who she's going up against, because a lot of those 80 carries got health buffs. And some of them that got health buffs can make a really good use of those health buffs. I'm thinking like Draven, MF, those early game champions that have just a little bit extra health. Now you're never going to kill them in the early game, even if things go sideways for them. So champions like that, Senna probably not very good against still, but champions like Lucian, who actually didn't get a health buff and don't traditionally take as many crit items, especially Zeal items, aren't benefiting from those movement speed changes. Senna's like much better into Lucian right now.
Yeah, can be very strong. No Lucian picked up yet, but an 80 carry still has to come through for the Imperial Knights. We'll see what they do decide to select. The Tom Kench has been picked up by Team Death Realm as well. That's a pretty standard lane to go alongside the Senna. Very important to have somebody to kind of keep her safe, because she doesn't have any of those mobility abilities that you like to see on a DD carry. Something that Illusion does have could go nicely alongside the Bard, or just something a little bit safer. I would probably expect to see an Ezreal come through here. I think that's pretty much the standard 80 carry in the meta right now. One of the most strong picks you can go for. Aphelios is also unbanned and one of the other stronger 80 carries, so I would probably put some money on Ezreal and Aphelios if I was a betting man and not just here to randomly say things, essentially. So I'm going to go for that. That's my current prediction. I don't know how you feel about bot lane X-Man. I've been told you're playing Ezreal jungle, so maybe not the greatest bot lane expert here for us.
Yeah, in the Ezreal vein, we already mentioned the health increases, but also the movement speed. And really for Ezreal, that plays exactly into what he wants to do, is just to be this safe bot laner. It's super hard to kill and it's super slippery. So Ezreal definitely gets huge buffs. On the flip side, I think Aphelios, kind of, those are his weaknesses, are maybe having a little bit more survivability in the early game, but also he's super immobile, so getting that movement speed in is huge for him. So in one area, the changes kind of put Ezreal into like Super Saiyan mode, but they also cover some of the weaknesses for some of the more immobile carries like Aphelios. So we're actually going to see Yasuo come through. So this is interesting. You know, we have the Malphite for some knockup. We have, I believe, a Zir displacement on the ultimate can also be procced with the Yasuo ult, and then set too. So you have some displacements here. I think this is probably pretty good, but I think I still would have liked Ezreal, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of developments in these last couple of picks here in the draft. It's going to be a set jungle, I would presume. Malphite in the top lane, Yasuo in the bot lane, Azir in the mid. So a lot of knock-up assistance, like you were just saying, Axeman, for that Yasuo ult. Probably pretty good into center, right? She's not that strong early, only has that Tahm Kench beside her. Yasuo can just get in there with that sword and start hacking away. So could be very scary for the Team Death Realm. Bot lane, Malphite's just a very annoying champion in general. I cringe every time I see him on the other team. As I'm playing AD carry, it feels so hard to get away from the ultimate. You just kind of get knocked up, one shot, taken out straight away. So can be pretty dangerous for anybody on the opposing side of that. Azir, very standard mid lane mage. I think the team from the Imperial Knights, throughout is just very, very strong.
Yeah, definitely. And what I really like about this Malphite pick is that it works very well with the Yasuo. You go in with Unstoppable Force. That's a very hard thing to dodge. And then Yasuo essentially gets a free ultimate. So that synergy there is great. But Malphite's also going to be very, very difficult for Wukong to kill in a gank. So I kind of like that as well. Wukong's going to be a terror on Summoner's Rift. He's so strong right now, and now he doesn't have as big of a gank opportunity in one of the lanes here. That's huge. It's going to force him on the bottom side of the map, and it's going to make him a lot easier to track. So I definitely like the Malphite pick. Basically, you can just kind of go even with Shen, and it'll probably be fine. Both of these champions not so much looking to win lane as they are looking to kind of bring utility to the late game. I would say between them, I would take Malphite winning this lane, but I don't think it particularly matters unless he totally raffle stomps Shen, which I don't really see happening. So it should be a pretty slow lane, I would say.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lane that anybody's going to, be getting massive amounts of kills in, right? It's hard to even imagine these champions bringing each other anywhere close to low. Shen has some damage on the Q. Malphite can slow the attack speed and kind of slow you down, be annoying, right? But he's not, he doesn't have enough damage just in the kit, base damage even to do anything to Shen's health bar, especially against, possible potions or Doran shields or the other regen items that will be in the bot lanes, or the top lane, excuse me. So should be, pretty much a wet noodle fight up there. Maybe with the Malphite all and a gank, you can get something done, but I just don't think that's where the pressure is going to be focused, right? I would expect to see Cyphersoul going mid lane or going bot lane, trying to get Yasuo ahead, maybe trying to get this Azir ahead, kind of depending on what their game plan is, who has that pressure. Rumble has no movement abilities really on the mid lane except for that flash, so if they can blow that early, that could be huge. Kind of the same for the bot lane. There is that Tahm Kench security, but if Senna doesn't have flash, or Tahm Kench doesn't have flash, it can be a little bit harder to get away. So I think the top laners are just going to be trying to impact the game late game, like you were saying, and kind of just wait the laning phase out and then try to fight at 25, 30 minutes around those objectives.
Yeah, definitely. Something I really like, I think about Imperial Knights comp is the Bard. I really like roaming supports right now. I think they're super strong for starters, but it's also just good to have both your mid supported as well as your ADC. ADC is kind of weak right now, so if you can get more help onto your mid laner, that's probably for the best. But also, when you leave your ADC in the bot lane with the solo experience, that helps them out too, because eventually you just want the experience lead. You just want to have those levels, those base stats. That's what's going to give you an advantage in lane. Even if the enemy has some more items than you, having a couple levels can be exactly the same as that. But Tahm Kench also kind of roaming. Depends on how they use the ultimate. I don't think I would think of TK as much of a roaming support as Bard is. So I would really expect him to just kind of stay in lane and try to protect Senna, but I suppose there's also that potential as well.
I would expect that. Sorry, X-Men, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm interrupting you. Azir's in the bot lane.
Yeah. I was
okay.
That up. That's true.
Yeah.
Azir is bot. Yeah, no
Yasuo.
Expect
that. So.
No Yasuo to be had. I was going to say that Senna and Tahm Kench, likely if they're going to roam, will probably roam together. Just kind of go for a ride together, maybe into the mid lane and try to kill Sai in the mid lane, kill the Yasuo, maybe the set. If there's a counter gank situation going on, I would not be expecting Tahm Kench to be ulting out by himself. That's not something you see terribly often, and you were kind of saying that solo XP can be good. It also can lead to a solo dead AD carry. So Senna, very immobile, Azir, Shurima Shuffle straight in there, Tempered Fate from Bard. There's a lot of pick potential tools for the Azir Bard that would make it really, really scary to lane alone as Senna. So I think that Tahm Kench needs to stay put with her or leave with her. I don't think they really want to be in a situation where either one of those two is staying in the lane by themselves. Because I think that could lead to a pretty quick dead Senna. There's just a lot of tools on every member of IKB to rip apart the Senna if she isn't able to go into the belly of Tahm Kench, right? Yasuo, knock her up, Malphite ultimate set, pulls her in, more CC, Azir can shuffle her, Bard can CC her. So a lot of dangers for the Senna in this game. I might have even liked to see the Ezreal again. I know they were trying to go for the Senna Tahm Kench lane and they didn't, see the whole team, but into this team, the Senna is going to feel so bad late game. You have to, essentially stun yourself in order to use those auto attacks. That's how her auto attack works, is you have to, stand there and essentially charge it off. So there's a lot of potential for her to get just one shot in these fights, and keep your eyes on Talia in the bot lane on the Tahm Kench, trying to keep her safe, because that's pretty much the only tool she has. Stand United, it honestly is not going to do a whole lot, even in the late game. It's going to be a big shield, but if Stolen Waffle and Sai are on top of you and Equinox is hitting from the back line, an extra 500 health isn't the point. The point is you've gotten knocked up and you're just doomed. So it's pretty much going to be up to Talia on Tahm Kench to keep her alive.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta try and keep your ADC alive here. We got another minute here in the spectator delay, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about this team fight that's coming through from TDR here. You have the equalizer coming from Rumble. That's huge for them. You already talked about, I think it's called Cyclone for Wukong.
Yep.
That's that huge as well. So when we talk about team fights, I really feel like it's TDR that has the advantage here. And to be honest, I feel like team fighting and the objective control is so important in the game right now in Season 10 that it kind of gives their comp an edge in my mind.
Yeah, I think they have probably a better sustained and simple team fight, whereas IKB is really going for that wombo combo style, right? So if Malphite is able to land a 5-man Unstoppable Force into 5-man Yasuo ult and Azir's hitting in the neckline, it's just the whole team's going to die instantly from TDR. On the other hand, if Malphite hits 2 people, if they don't get the big wombo combo off, the champions don't really work as well individually. I think they're a much more team-reliant champion, group-reliant champion, and individually these champions are not as strong. So we'll have to see how good the execution is for the Imperial Knights, because without that team synergy, without that execution, I think they're just going to kind of get picked apart in this fight. But there's also the opportunity, I think, for this team to always get back in the game. If you can land those key abilities, if you can, one-shot the backline, you definitely, even if you're down a lot of gold, you can certainly still get back into this game. So I think IKB has a good team if they end up getting behind to potentially get back in the game around an objective, get a bunch of knockups, and just kind of wipe the team fight randomly when you're behind. So I think in that sense, their team camp's good, but I do agree with you. I think they're just straight up team fight without a huge amount of execution potential. It is probably going to be a little bit weaker than TDR's.
Yeah, definitely. And both teams have some comeback mechanics. They have some viable late game win conditions, mainly in the bot lane with Azir and then the Senna on the flip side. And yeah, I don't think that this game is going to be necessarily over until a Nexus explodes. A lot of the times we see a team just so far ahead or just so snowbally. So I don't know. I guess just really ahead that you can normally just say, okay, well, this game's just over. I don't know if we could say this about this game at any point. There's a lot of comeback mechanics here, but taking a look, we do have the Grasp Senna build. I'm pretty sure that's just here to stay at this point. I think the Glacial Augment days are probably gone. I haven't seen it in quite a while now, so that's probably out. Malphite taking Arcane Comet. That's pretty standard, I feel. Not taking Grasp, which I see sometimes, but I think Comet's probably the norm now. We'll take a look down the bot lane. Double heals. Don't see much of that anymore since the Ghost changes and Teleport changes as well. I see a lot of bot laners opt for different summoner spells, but I guess we got double heals this game.
Double heals and also double exhausts. So these are lanes that do not want to be dying. Also, Purposely Bad has exhaust in the mid lane on the Rumble. So double exhaust team plus heal. Really, really defensive summoner spell choices for both these teams, really. But Sai with the Ignite versus the exhaust in the mid lane makes it a little bit less so for IKB. And this is a TDR team that really just does not want to get one shot in these team fights. And I think that's a very, very smart choice, because that's really how they're going to lose these fights, right? Is if they get one shot, if they get picked off. And having double exhaust, you can exhaust the Malphite and exhaust the Yasuo, maybe the Yasuo and the Azir if they're both going in, and really cut the damage down. Exhaust is a very, very strong summoner spell. If it blocks damage, it makes champions feel so useless. It's not even that big of a damage reduction. It's only 40%. So you're still doing more than half your damage, but you suddenly feel like you're straight up useless on those carries if they get exhausted. So summoner spell usage could also be key this game for TDR.
Yeah, definitely. A well-placed exhaust can change the course of a fight. We are seeing 5 points from both teams. Nothing too crazy. We're seeing Bard go around. He's looking for the early chimes, and something I like to do when I play Bard, Carl, if we have a second here and there's no shenanigans, As I like to drop a heal, I'll start heal, and then I'll drop a healing shrine somewhere, and then go pick up the chimes because it refills your mana for free. I don't know if it's optimal, but I think it's really funny, and I'll just leave heals throughout my jungle for the jungler. I have never figured out if that's necessarily optimal or helpful, but I think it's pretty funny as a jungler to like go through your jungle and find all these heals that your support left for you.
I mean, as long as it's funny, Axeman, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, that's what matters.
Yeah, for sure. We got a little bit of a standoff in the top lane. I'm not sure if that sword is visible if the Shen's not visible. I think it is, but I'm not too sure. So I think they both know they're there, and they're just kind of staring at each other as that comes to absolutely nothing, and we have a very, very standard start here. But that was kind of interesting. Everybody just staring at each other in the top lane for a solid like minute while Axeman was telling his Bard story, which I think is pretty fun. I think that's a good strat. I don't see why that would be really that bad.
Yeah.
The heals are great in lane too, right? So you're going to get your mana back. You'll have your stun at level 2, which is really when you need to fight anyway. So I think that's good. Keep doing that one, Axeman. I'm sure your junglers will thank you for it, as Azodium is quite late to lane in the bot lane. That's going to miss them the first wave of melee creeps. They're going to lose 2 creeps worth of XP. That is actually quite big. They're going to be level 2, probably 3 or 4 ranged creeps late, and that could make quite a big difference in that bot lane fight. So watch that for level 2 in about 15 or 20 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really sure how big Azir's level 2 is in the bot lane. I would say it's probably better than level 1. That seems obvious, but I don't know if this is like an all-in situation for them, or it doesn't seem to be. But they are going to get the free push into the enemy turret. Strysai taking a lot of damage in the mid lane. Not a favorable trade there with a Rumble. I kind of expect this mid lane to go Yasuo favored, but a lot of it comes to the 2v2, and in that, I really like Wukong. So I feel like if there's a lot of Wukong mid, then it's not going to go very well for the Yasuo.
Yeah, likely not. Yeah, Wukong has a habit of just messing everything up that people are trying to do, right? So that could also be quite important as a nice push in the bot lane. That level 2, just kind of getting a push. It wasn't really ever going to be an all-in, I don't really think, just because of the defensive summoner spells. And Azir, isn't something like a Caitlyn that can just kind of one-shot somebody off of CC with those traps right at level 2. You're just going to kind of be able to auto a little bit more, and that's kind of it. So you can move the soldiers around a bit more, but the damage doesn't really go up that much. So a nice push. They have quite a nice CS lead. It is this fasting Senna situation. Only 1 CS for Azodium so far. So I would say they have been put behind by that level 1 situation, but not as far behind as against some other lanes probably. And they're just sticking this one out. They need a couple of levels, get a few more Qs rolling through for Azodium. And they should be good. I'm not too sure how good the fasting Senna is on this patch. The whole point of the buff was that she needs to kill creeps. So I'm not too sure what's optimal on that. I haven't checked it out that much yet to really know. But this seems to be the strat that they're going for, at least for this game.
Yeah. I guess they didn't nerf Fasting Senna. The question is really just like, is it now more optimal to play regular bot lane? So I suppose there's nothing inherently wrong with just playing the Fasting Senna again, because it definitely worked. It was pretty effective in a lot of circumstances. Ryzen on the top lane starting to do a lot of damage to Stone Waffle. Neither top laner really wants to back at this point, so both of them are like sub 50% health. It's a dangerous spot to be in. I mean, these champions don't do a ton of damage, but they're not straight up tanks either, right? They do have some damage abilities, so you definitely want to make sure you don't get all in by either side. And, I would expect if this keeps going on and neither one of them really backs down, I would expect this to come to a head and a solo kill to come out in the top lane. But, both of them have teleports, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep fighting each other, eventually someone's going to die, right? That's just kind of how that works. And also, neither of them have any vision. The ward just went down for Rice to try to get some vision onto Cypher Soul. But, if you get low enough, you can be dove. Even on Malphite, it's not a champion you really want to be diving too much. That Unstoppable Force can be quite big in dive repelling, but not quite up yet. So they will have to watch the health bars, but I think they're going to be fine. It's not, it's not too dangerous up in there in the top lane. Speaking of dangerous, the mid lane has forced a recall out of Psy. There, he had to go back, and that Rumble does a lot of damage early. His base damage is pretty high, and the Doran's shield keeps him surprisingly tanky. up against the Yasuo in the mid lane, adding a lot of health, adding a lot of regeneration for himself. And so he's able to get these really favorable trades where he kind of gets engaged on and then just flame spitters and eventually wins the trade. A couple of harpoons coming out as well. And that shield, it was nerfed, maybe 3 or 4 patches ago at this point, but still can allow him to tank up a little bit. So the lane's going pretty well for both of these teams. It's mostly just a farm fest, a little more trading in the top lane, but like Stolen Waffle's never going to die here. He's going to get low, walk back, going to be sad. He might actually go down a bunch of CS if he has to recall, but right now the lane's amazingly even.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. Nope, not going to take the recall there either. Both of them, I think, have channeled their recall like 4 times now and then just not taking it. But Cypher Soul is soloing the dragon. Looks like he's going to be able to take it too. Jay Gotti back in the base is not going to have anything to say about the Mountain Dragon. In the bot lane, ooh, yeah, Talia getting super low on Tom Kench. That's his, I mean, I guess you had the healing from the Senna, but I don't know if that's enough to warrant, like, staying in lane at this point. I feel like you just get poked
catch
out.
This wave. Yeah, you gotta catch this wave at least. And he is the one that's supposed to be getting all the farm, in the theory, so he has, he's kind of forced to walk up and he just takes so much punishment from these soldiers. He's going pretty low, actually. Equinox walking forward. Takes a little bit of a trade. Zodium walking up, but out of mana, so I think everybody's going to kind of back off. But Talia now forced to recall in the spot lane. A little bit of a CS gap also has opened up. They're up quite a lot of farm. About 25 there in the bot lane. A nice lead for the Imperial Knights blue bot lane as this game continues to be quite peaceful.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, no blood yet. We still have first blood on the table, so neither team really wants to give it up, of course. But now that it's been this long, it's almost like the pressure is mounting. You know that the first blood is coming, but neither side wants to give it up. So, yeah, Purposely Bad. I feel like Purposely Bad just kind of out damages Sai until Sai picks up his Zeal item, and then from then on, the matchup just kind of flips around. The Zeal item obviously got that movement speed buff. That's going to help out Yasuo a lot too, so that's going to be very, very impactful here once they manage to pick that one up. We got Gotti in the mid lane. This could be a gank.
Might see something. He's channeling the recall. He was fighting on a ward, so theoretically Sai knows that he's there, but tell a lie about that. We're going to stay in the top lane. However, Stolen Waffle has used the ultimate onto Rice, who's going to flash himself out, and the showstopper going to be enough. Cypher Soul picking up first blood. 8 minutes into the game. It was a long time coming, but eventually it goes over to the set.
Yeah, and Rice kind of bought himself that one. I mean, he'd been hard shoving the wave into Stolen Waffle for the entirety of this game, and eventually Cypher Soul catches on after soloing the dragon the bot side of the map, walks up top lane and just catches out Rice. And yeah, I feel like you just kind of earned yourself that. I mean, he warded a couple times, but eventually you just got to say, man, I can't keep getting away with this, right? I mean, eventually Set's going to come top, so you got to back off then. But they were in lane for a very long time, so they had quite a bit of gold. They're going to come back into lane with the Spectre's Cowl. It's going to make it pretty difficult for the Stolen Waffle to poke them out of lane. I don't think that was really on the table anyway, because I would expect Stolen Waffle to go up for a tankier build this game. I feel like they have enough damage on their team. They don't need an AP Malphite. So, and it looks like I was right about that. They got Bambi Cinder and also the Chain Vest coming through. So it's going to be tank Malphite. I mean, if this matchup had a chance of there being a solo kill, it now absolutely does not. I mean, both champions are much, much tankier now. They're itemizing for the enemy damage. And yeah, nothing else going to happen in this top lane. Gotti is picking up that Rift Herald. We'll see where he drops it. Could be mid in my mind. I feel like we want to break that open as soon as possible and really trying to put Yasuo on the back foot, keep him from hitting those crit power spikes.
They might try to dive the top lane, or at least try to go for some counter jungling. Unfortunately, no jungle to counter, as Cypher Soul had cleared that out. It looked like he was walking out to maybe go for a dive in the top lane. That would, to my mind, be quite a poor idea, as that is not a champion you want to be diving in the Malphite. But we might see some action coming up in the mid lane. Both junglers are down there. There's also some fighting in the bot lane, but going in towards the mid lane. The engagement from Gotti. There's the equalizer going to go down as well. Sai with a nice last breath onto Purposely Bad. Shen has arrived from that ultimate down. Sai running for a slight flash into the tower. Purposely Bad not going to be able to pick up the kill, but Cypher Soul very low as well. He is going to be taken down. Dawning Shadow Zodium from the bot lane, picking up that one kill as both members of the Imperial Knights blue side do fall in that engagement. Talia fighting as well. Herald's been in the mid lane. And Equinox, very low. Temper Fate going to go wide. A nice flash from Azodium to try to keep himself alive. Going to be able to do so. And that fight is going to fizzle out. The push coming through in the mid.
Yeah, and that's just a good look from Azodium, being able to recognize that their ultimate was needed there, and they pick up the kill on side. Very well played. And now they're going to get the mid turret, I think. Obviously there's a lot of bonus armor since they have multiple champions around it, so maybe they won't end up getting it in the end, but it definitely took a lot of damage on that one. They got like 4 plates as well. It's a huge differential when you talk about gold difference. We could take a look at the mid lane right now. Yeah, it's like 700 gold just from a couple plays in the mid lane, and Purposely Bad is up almost 1,000. We got the Dragon coming up in 30 seconds here. I would expect Cypher Soul to probably make a move around that one as well. At this point, you kind of just leave Malphite in the top lane. You pretty much set them up here. Ooh, to Leon to Equinox.
Flash in the bot lane onto Equinox. He's going to be just fine. Takes the portal to safety. Not going to be around for the Dragon, though. He's going to have to book it back to lane if they do want to contest for this Dragon. Ultimate should be up in time. The Cyclone actually is going to be about 30 seconds delayed. That Wukong will not have the ultimate. Neither will that Stand United be available. So both topside ultimates are gone for TDR if they want to go for this. Well, while all of the ultimates are now available for the Imperial Knights topside, right? The Unstoppable Force was not used, and the Showstopper and Last Breath have lower cooldowns, so those are already back available. If there does happen to be a Dragon fight, as Psy now in the mid lane going to use that Last Breath, Exhaust has been traded back by Purposely Bad. Psy going to try to get himself away. Here comes the Tom Kench and possibly some teammates. Purposely Bad running for his life. Oh, one more auto attack was canceled out by Psy. Not going to be able to pick that one up. Psy now trying to get himself away. No ultimate available. We mentioned no Cyclone, but the Equalizer has come down. Purposely Bad has now picked up the kill onto Psy, able to escape from that fight, and he's able to pick up some revenge kill at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned actually, but Phase Rush on Cypher Soul is set. That worked out pretty well for him in the end, just able to run through Equalizer. Oh, it's another fight.
Cypher Soul going pretty low. Haymaker's available. Exhaust has been used onto that champion, but another Cyclone has come down. There's the Tom Kench. Nice eat to keep his teammate alive. Saber gonna have to get himself out. Has used the Temper Fate and both summoners to get away, but his jungler does fall in the exchange.
Yeah, well played there by Saber to get the Tempered Fate off. Did very well. Equinox in the bot lane, taking lots of plating down there. Just kind of using the absence of Tom Kench to their advantage. Now it's Jay Gotti looking for the Dragon.
Dragon has been started up. Down to half HP. Equinox has arrived on the scene. Malphite has not come down. He was walking down, but did not end up committing fully to that. Equinox can get hit by that Senna W. Dragon goes over in favor of Team Death Realm, and kind of looked like it might be a fight, but looks like the Imperial Knight side decided to just farm a little bit and not go for that objective.
Yeah, so now it's one Dragon apiece. We do have Ocean Soul in the Ocean map as well. I don't think Ocean map got any changes this patch. I know Cloud and Infernal did, I believe, but I'm pretty sure Ocean is just the same, so nothing new here. Obviously, we do have the Ocean Soul as well, all Ocean Dragons from now on too, so just keeping track of that for you. Take a look at the mid lane. It really is Purposely Bad pulling away in this lane. Doing very well in the Rumble. We can take a look at the gold lead once again. It's 800 now, so the gold lead's expanding in the mid lane, and that's really what's most important, is in which direction the lead is moving. You know, it's all well and good to have a lead, but if your lead is expanding, that's very bad for the enemy. Looks like up in the top lane, Rice is crashing a pretty big wave. Waffle is just going to clear it with Bammy Cinder, though.
Happily clear that one. Has that whatever that item's called. Sunfire Cape. Yes, is that right? My brain just turned off. Yeah, Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, Sunfire Cape, yeah.
We see so many Bomby Cinders not turn into capes that I'm just stuck with the Bomby Cinders. So that cape has been completed, therefore Stolen Waffle able to clear out the wave pretty nicely. And you were saying that mid lane, it's interesting, he's so far down in gold, you know, relatively Psy, you know, a lot of multiple percents down in terms of like total gold. But he still kind of wins the 1v1. We saw that engage earlier. The Leanders hadn't been completed, so that might switch a little bit now. But I'm pretty confident that once Psy finishes probably his Phantom Dancer he's going for here, he probably will win that 1v1, as we're just turning it into a 1 versus 2. And it's working out pretty well for the side of TDR, forcing the flash out of Psy, saying, you're not even going to get that 1v1. We're just going to run you out of lane. And they have done so, and they've picked up the mid tower.
Yeah, I don't think Psy is going to have a very good time after this. I'm pretty sure this not only like frees up Purposely Bad for roams, it also makes it very difficult for Psy to feel safe in lane. You really have to stay back and like last hit minions, which is a bad place for Yasuo to be, right? I mean, he wants to be threatening kill pressure in a lane. He wants to be keeping his enemy lane opponent in lane too, to be able to threaten them. And this could be a dive in the bot lane.
Equinox is taking a ton of damage. The orb goes down to buy a bit of vision. Cypher Soul has arrived. Yasuo coming down as well. This is going to be a big fight, you have to feel. And the bot lane, a nice stun goes down onto the Tom Kench ultimate on his back from the Shiny Equalizer goes down as well. Dawning Shadow across to buy a bit of time. Looks like that ultimate may have been canceled by Stolen Waffle. I think he did already use the ultimate. There it is. He has arrived on the scene. Gotti trying to get himself away from this one purposely bad. And Azodium now running for the hills. Teleport from Rice is coming into this situation. Saber going into that portal, but he might be a little bit too far forward here. Gonna try to get himself away out of this situation. Can he escape from this one? Yes, he can. The Haymaker not gonna pick up a kill, but Stolen Waffle has killed Gotti at the backside of this one. It's 2 for 0 so far in favor of Imperial Knights Blue as TDR is just running for the hills. What looked like a tower dive turned right around on him. IKB fighting back.
Yeah, it's a shame the dragon isn't up, right? I mean, they win this big fight. Obviously, they get some gold for their trouble, but no objective. I would like to see Cypher Soul run top lane to look for the Rift Herald, but it doesn't look like they're going to be making a move for that as of right now. We actually see pings coming from TDR into the Rift Herald. I would say accurately, assuming that the enemy team would go for that objective, but as they are not, they'll probably just arrive and be able to take it themselves, which means that TDR picks up the dragon this cycle. They also pick up Rift Herald. So despite losing that fight, I feel like overall TDR still comes out on top.
Yeah, they're still definitely, I think, winning right now, at least across the map in terms of their like macro play and objective play, even though they did end up losing that one fight. And they only lost 2 members, right? It wasn't like it was a whitewash, 5 for 0 ace, you lose the game immediately. They just kind of lost a couple of kills, had to get themselves back. But a lot was also used by the Imperial Knights, right? Both summoners on Stolen Waffle and his ultimate had to be expended. The bot lane, a lot of health was taken away as well, so it wasn't just a completely free Herald play. And so that was able to be picked up by Gotti and the rest of TDR, as they should be able to push down a tower with that at some point. Of course, they do have 4 minutes to use that, so they might drop it before the next dragon to try to get some pressure on that objective, which is up in just 30 seconds.
Yep, dragon in 30 seconds, the first ocean dragon. It's going to be pretty impactful being able to get some of this regen as champions are still trying to stay out on the map for the time being. Got a wave crashing up in the top lane that could come into play.
Lane, Tempered Fate has gone down. Equinox trying to keep his support alive, but I just don't think he can. The auto attack's coming through, not doing the damage that he might have liked, despite that Morellonomicon already coming through. And Equinox and Saber just way too far up in lane. They may have killed the turret, but they ended up paying for it with their support's life.
Yeah, Carl, sad bard noises, and here's the Rift Herald in the bot lane.
There it has gone down. Equinox going to have to abandon this turret. This turret is not long for the Rift. That second turret of the game taken out in favor of TDR. Taking a 2-1 lead in that objective. Cypher Soul and Psy waiting in the wings. Hex Flash has been challenged. They might look for the kill on the support. A flash from Talia to try to get himself away from this. Psy waiting for the ultimate. There's the Showstopper. Has gone down at the support. A lot being used just on Talia. Not able to buy a whole lot of time. He goes down. Psy picking up that kill. It is now a 4 versus 4 until Saber can arrive in this fight. Dragon will start it up, but it is going to be stopped. Now, Stolen Waffle is on the front line. Unstoppable Force is available, so watch for that. Last Breath available as well. There it is. Last Breath has come through on a 2-man Dawning Shadow across for a bit of a shielding. Purposely back, going to get shielded up by the Sand United as well, but it's not going to be enough. He is shot down by Stolen Waffle as this fight's going to end as soon as it started. Tell a lie, actually. The re-engage goes onto his Zodium. A nice flash over the wall to keep himself safe. Rice has found his way into a bit of trouble, 1v1ing the support. Not sure who's actually winning this fight. A bit of a noodle situation going on. Another stun going to land. Rice is just so tanky at this point, right? Despite having that Tiamat, he is quite a tanky boy. He's going to get himself out of this one. But in the end, another fight win for IKB, and they take the dragon at the end.
Yeah, if you're Bryce running away from a Malphite and a Bard at this point, they're just not hitting you, right? And that's you have a lot of MR on you at this point. But yeah, Dragon going over to, like you said, Cypher Soul being able to pick up that one. They now have 2 dragons, so halfway to Dragon Soul now, which is a pretty good place to be indeed. 5 minutes on next dragon. I don't think, yeah, it looks like Azodium has upgraded that, or completed that support item quest. They also have a frozen mallet, which I think is meta for Senna now. I'm pretty sure it's like tank items and grass for whatever reason. I won't pretend to understand that, but I am aware of it. So I don't know if you could shed some light on that. I know you're in the bot lane, but I don't know how much Senna you play.
General idea is that you get enough scaling from the souls that you just kind of want to survive. Other than that, it's essentially like having just really high base damages, and then you can go for a bunch of tank items to keep yourself safe is the theory. I don't know how well it works on Senna anymore. I haven't played it a ton since this build became popular, so I don't have a ton of insight as well. I know the theory behind it, but I haven't played it a whole lot. It seems to be working out for him so far. 1-0-1 has had some nice ultimate pickups, shields and kills with that one. Let's see a fight in the mid lane. Saber just passing by, gonna get hit with a W, but a nice magical journey should keep him just safe. He's able to get himself out, as we seem to be in a little bit of a lull here, as all the major objectives are kind of just off the map for now. Wet Noodle fight in the top lane, and a kind of some A-ramming going on in the mid.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, between the Astronaut Bard and then the Darkstar Malphite, the Prestige skin in the top lane, team's got some pretty good skins. These are pretty nice. I like the Bard skin too. Little green men meeps. It's good stuff.
Yeah, gotta have the good skins. I mean, that's really important if you want to win in competitive. It's interesting how some skins actually do have like some different, mechanics. They look a little bit different, so could see some competitive ideas with that one. I know I have skins that I play specifically in competitive games, which I think is more just from like superstition than it is anything else. But
Mafia Graves.
Yeah, I mean, gotta have your skins, right? Ax?
Best really skin. Yep.
If we see the team seem to have like kind of switched places in the mid lane, they're kind of figuring it out now. I'm not really sure why the IKB team was behind the TDR team, and then everybody just kind of walked off. So some interesting posturing in the mid lane, but looks like I don't think any of these teams really want to fight before this next dragon, so we might have another 2.5 minutes of this.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure you want to fight over objectives here. There's really not much else going on with so many outer turrets still up. I mean, you have both top ones still up, a mid one, too. That's a lot for right now at 22 minutes of structures to still be up. So there's not a lot of safety on the map. You don't want to roam out too far. Or maybe, there's too much safety right now. You don't want to go out too far because the enemy team is like right next to their turrets. They can escape almost immediately. So it's almost like there's... Oh, yeah.
Zodium face checking this bush. He is really tanky though. This is ended on his back, trying to keep himself safe. It was able to get his ultimate off before this fight has commenced. There's the Equalizer on the backside, not doing a whole lot of damage. Purposely Bad is stuck on the other side of this wall. Equinox has now picked up Gotti, as IKB is doing very well in this fight, which is essentially a 5 versus 4. Purposely Bad was not able to participate in this one. Didn't want to expend the flash to get over the wall. Just kind of threw some harpoons and watched his team get ripped to pieces as IKB turns toward the Baron.
Yeah, and they're going to look for the Baron here, like you mentioned. Rice and Purposely Bad probably can't stop this. They might make their way over to the Baron to try and just get some free shots in at IK, but they have all 5 members, so I really don't think they're winning this 2v5. This is going to be IK's Baron. They're going to be able to reap the rewards of this power play. Very, very bad for TDR here.
Yeah, not what they were hoping for. They looked so good earlier in the objective control, and it's just kind of all fallen apart in the last few minutes here for him. Items were completed off of that Baron play as well. 2 items now on Azir, 2 items on Yasuo, 2 items on Malphite, and the set as well. These items are just rolling through. 2 item power spikes on a lot of these members. Yasuo has 100 crit. Azir should now be able to cut through a little bit more of those resistances and has a lot more attack speed with that Nashor's Tooth. And of course, Soul and Waffle is just so tanky at this point. No armor shred to speak of coming through in any way. No penetration at all on TDR right now. So they are just trying to hit through this Malphite, and he truly is an unstoppable force at this point, able to get those knockups in as well. This is a very scary IKB team. I would expect them to just group up, try to get this dragon, and then push down a wave in some of the lanes and just try to break the base.
Yeah, and I like the adaptive helm pickup. I feel like this is solely for Rumble, which makes a lot of sense in my mind. I mean, he's the only source of magic damage, and he does a lot of damage over time abilities. You have the Equalizer, you also have the Flamethrower too. So I really like the adaptive helm pickup. I think it's some good foresight, but it's also just very reasonable to say, hey, Rumble's probably going to be doing the most damage to me right now.
Yep, teleport has come through in the backline. This is going to be an all-out dragon fight. Equalizer has gone down, just once again not doing a whole lot of damage. Yasuo ulting in the backside, their side doing a ton of damage. Set has picked up the dragon as well. That's the 3rd dragon going over in favor of Imperial Knights as Saber trying to get himself away, but Equinox has picked up Talia. This fight once again going in favor of the Knights. Purposely Bad going to be taken out. The showstopper has ended his show, at least for now. Azodium and Rice, the only ones left alive. Rice has to find some solace on the fountain. Azodium, the only one to walk away with more than 30% of his health bars. He just has to watch as his mid lane is being shoved down by the Knights, all 5 alive.
Yeah, I feel like with IK having Baron, they probably get inhib here. I don't think Rice and Zodiac can stop them. Their wave is kind of sparse, but with the Baron buff, it's probably going to be enough. I mean, it just has to tank a couple shots. And yeah, they're at least going to get this turret. I don't know if they get the inhib.
They probably can still take a fight, though, right? It's a 5 versus 4. They're probably not scared to fight. Cypher Soul proving me right as they are onto the inhibitor. That's going to fall. Now, the Cannon Minion helping out as well. There might be an engage, though, coming down onto Cypher Soul. He's just going to be able to walk himself away from that situation. And IK just kind of runs down the mid lane, kills 3 towers, kills 1 inhibitor, and then pieces out to go back to base.
Yeah, that was a huge play, a huge power play there. After they picked up the Baron, walk over, they get the Dragon, get 3 towers, get the inhibitor. Huge. They get so much gold here. The gold lead at present time is like 7K. That's massive. I mean, it was essentially even, not 5 minutes ago, so.
They might be going for a re-engage, actually. Cypher Soul has come into this one. Tempered Fate gonna just turn everybody off for a couple of seconds. Another nice stun coming through from Bard, but Sai is going to fall in this one. No Azir in this fight. A little bit interesting that the Knights decided to try to, flip the script on him here, as they are going to be able to escape to their very low top tower. That's barely even a tower at this point. Tahm Kench ultimate has come in to Leah, and Rice have arrived in the scene. Azodium going to come through that portal as well. That might not be the portal that he's looking for. Shen United is on his back. They're going very low, going to get shut down almost immediately. The tower is still alive. He did not kill it, and there's no Shen to speak of. Actually, he is arrived on the scene. Saber now trying to get under the tower, throws himself a heal. Can he keep himself alive? Nice stun as well from the Q. The tower has now finally fallen. Cypher Soul now just the only one left, but Soul and Waffle and Equinox are on their way. Can he buy enough time with the Haymaker? Yes, he can. Going to be able to get eaten, but he is staying alive in the belly. A double kill coming through for the Imperial Knights. They have turned this fight right around. Cypher Soul does find himself taken down into the death chamber, but 3 kills are traded back, and in the end, a 4 for 3 in favor of the Imperial Knights.
Yeah, now it's just purposely bad, kind of, shaking his head like, what am I going to do? They got super minions in the base, Carl. That's not good. This turret is taking a lot of damage. Zodium, you got to take those super minions, man. You're going to lose your turret. We'll see if they... No, I don't think they're going to get the turret there. It was pretty close, though, and taking free damage on your Nexus turrets is never a good thing. Next Dragon in 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Looking like Sai is going to be moving towards that. Actually, no, looking for the Krugs here, so nobody on the Dragon just yet. There's a lot of red control wards there, Carl. That's some pretty good vision control indeed. We see some blue control wards as well. Both teams very vision focused, especially on the bottom side of the map. I mean, the Baron's not coming up for another minute and a half, so with both objectives coming up at the same time, I feel like we might see a trade here.
Yeah, either trade, of course, favors the Imperial Knights, right? You either get Baron and just give up one random Ocean Dragon, or you get the Ocean Soul, which is generally considered to be the strongest of the souls. They, of course, all have merit, but that is a particularly strong one. And in the last couple of minutes, this game has just been blown wide open in favor of the Imperial Knights. They've been winning every fight, taking every objective. That inhibitor in the mid lane, Soul and Waffle's in no trouble in the bot. Not sure I can say the same for Rice in the top. Actually, yeah, I can. He just kind of walks himself out to safety. Both these top laners are so tanky at this point. They're not going to get kind of randomly taken down. It definitely takes a more concerted effort to take out these tanks, but this might be the concerted effort. Sai walking himself in, pretty aggressive there. Has the ward over the wall, though, to know that he was safe. Azodium and purposely bad arriving to keep their top laner alive. Rice going to take a little bit of poke. Tahm Kench ult in the mid lane. Not sure what's going on here. Might see a fight. Actually, on this one, Cypher Soul taking a little bit of damage. Dawning Shadow going to come across to give a bit of shielding to the team. Cypher Soul very tanky. They're at half HP. Haymaker in the opposite direction. Teleport coming in behind. This could be a huge malfight from the backside. Oh, they're all grouped up. There's the unstoppable force. Only going to hit 2, though. He is going to get the last breath off of it as well. Gotti trying to use the Cyclone to buy a little bit more time and disrupt the backline. As Cypher Soul has arrived, he picks up the kill onto the opposing jungler. Zodium is not long for the Rift as well. He's going to be taken out on the side. Cypher Soul is still tanking up this situation. Equinox has arrived to keep his jungler safe as well. A flash forward on a purposely bad. He's going to be going down. It's 3 kills for naught in this fight for the Imperial Knights, as they're going to be running down the mid lane. 2 super minions at least are in the base. Equinox is playing the stop the recall game. Picks up the double kill out of the support. It's just Rice left to defend. The 4 for 0 fight is not working out for Team Death Realm. Rice, he can't defend the base. He might not die, but he cannot clear out the minions and clear out the champion's Tempered Fate to keep everybody in stasis for just a little bit longer. Going to get signed. He might get to the fountain, but his team is going to lose the Nexus. It's down to 10%. It's going to be taken out. Imperial Knights Blue pick up the first game in this series over Team Death Realm.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, IKV just pulling ahead in a big way in Summer's Rift, and they get a massive lead, just snowball the victory out of nowhere. Equinox coming through, doing so much damage for their team, but I really feel like the hero of the story was Cypher Soul with the objective control, almost getting his team Ocean Dragon. If it wasn't for them taking the Baron those couple times, I feel like they probably would have got it there. So if they hadn't ended this game, they would definitely have Ocean Soul. So doing very, very well on the jungle position indeed. I definitely like the set pick.
Yeah, I think this was a game where they just kind of, Imperial Knights realized that they didn't need to get as far ahead early, as a lot of compositions do, right? And they realized their carries needed a couple of items to really get into the game. And so what they were able to do is just kind of chill in the early game, give up a couple of kills. They had a few misplays, but in the end, the items started to come through and their comp really turned online, and the team fighting never really got going. For Team Death Realm, the equalizers didn't really have a lot of merit. The shields weren't coming through. And honestly, the Senna pick just didn't do a whole lot. I don't think the fasting Senna is the way to go. Didn't have very high damage, second lowest on the team, actually. Only second to Tom Kench, who did less damage than her by 70. So essentially the same damage as the Tom Kench, who was 0-6. I don't think this bot lane really worked out. The equalizers weren't great, and Gotti was trying in these team fights, but you can only disrupt for so long if there's nobody in your team doing damage.
Yeah, and that exactly, I think, was the issue, is that there just wasn't a whole lot of damage and not a whole lot of, like, sustained damage. I mean, the most you had is, like, maybe the equalizer coming from purposely bad, but that's not really sustained damage unless you're standing in it and not moving. It's more just, like, some weird burst over time mechanic or whatever. But, yeah, so I feel like they were definitely missing something there. To be honest, a couple times, Gotti would solo Rift Herald, or I think solo to Dragon a couple times, and I feel like that put him behind a little bit. I think the purpose of the Wukong pick is really to just be a terror and gank all of the time and hard carry your team, which is weird for me to say, because what I'm saying is have less objective focus. But I feel like it just would have helped this team if he ganked more.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could have helped out a lot more. He had a couple of objectives, but his team was just slowly kind of falling behind in terms of the kills, right? So, and then they kind of just fell apart at the end of that. But that's going to do it here for us for this game number 1. We're going to send it to a very brief break. We will be back in just a couple of minutes with game number 2 between the Imperial Knights Blue and Team Death Realm. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 here between the Imperial Knights Blue and Team Death Realm in game number 2 of this best of 3. The first game went in favor of the Imperial Knights, so Team Death Realm looking for a bit of revenge in this game. We are already into that champion select here on Pro Draft. Set being picked up, Kaisa being picked up, and breaking down these picks and bans with me is Axman87. How you doing?
What's up, Kevin? It's Axman87, and yeah, I'm doing just fine, Carl. I'm ready to watch TDR and IKB go back at it again, and we already got through the first ban phase. Getting started with these picks. Ornn taken away once again. No Ornn so far this series. Senna taken away this time from TDR. I'm pretty sure they picked Senna last game, so it's a little strange that they're banning it now that it didn't work out for them, but they are banning away Yasuo as well, taking that pick away. Another interesting ban, I feel. I guess it was a cornerstone of the comp in some ways. I really feel like Equinox did a lot more for the team than Psy did, but I guess they felt Yasuo was the more bannable champion between Yasuo and Azir.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely scary, and he really enables a lot of those wombo combos, right? Like with the Malphite. So if you are scared of that, that can come through. Caitlyn picked up, but apparently the Caitlyn is actually Ezreal. So I'm somewhat disappointed because Caitlyn is my main and my favorite champ. So that's kind of unfortunate. But apparently Ezreal has been picked up. A very standard AD carry. We were kind of calling for it in the last game. That's going to be up against the Kaisa Yuumi. So both bot lanes now locked in. Bard and Ezreal versus Kaisa and Yuumi. So could be either a really farm heavy lane or a very exciting lane, depending on how aggressive this Yuumi plays, I think. So bot lane could go a lot of different ways, depending on how they decide to play it.
Absolutely. Now that Saber's heard my whole heal start on Bard, we'll see if he goes for it. I got my fingers crossed here, Saber, that you'll do the right thing. But they seem to be pretty competent on Bard, so I'll trust their decisions. Maokai coming through from TDR. It's a pretty big pick considering Ornn's been banned. So since there are only 2 tanks in the game, now TDR have one of them. Yeah, and that's
true. Yeah,
that's the front line they have.
You can't argue with that. There are 2 tanks in League of Legends, and one's banned, one's picked. So I would probably expect to see either a Shen, maybe something else. Shen, probably the best pick here into the Maokai, just kind of chill a little bit. You could run the set into it. I guess I'm just assuming it's going to be set jungle again. I don't think the set top is awful against Maokai. I don't know a whole lot about tank matchups top lane because they seem to just be kind of random sometimes. They could just stat check each other, but we'll see what kind of a tank. I would assume it will be a tank. I don't think you really want to play some kind of damage champion into Maokai. That doesn't seem like the greatest plan in the world. So IKB chewing on that one. Couple of more seconds before that pick will come through. Echo locked in for TDR. Could be jungle, could be mid. Little bit of a flex pick, but a very strong champion either of those roles. So a little bit more of an interesting team from TDR. They kind of are putting all their eggs in the Kaisa basket so far with the Yuumi on top. The Maokai just to tank up a little bit, and Nar Syndra, nice set of power picks coming through for IKB.
Yeah, definitely. I really like the flexibility from TDR. I don't know where some of these champions are going, and I'd like to see that. I would think at this point, Echo jungle, unless they pick a jungler here. I think that would be pretty standard. But Maokai is one of those picks where it's like, that's probably going top unless it isn't, right? And then you're kind of up in the air as to where it's going. We are pretty much going to have this locked in. Yeah, it's going to be Zoe. I would have to imagine mid, which in my mind would have put Echo jungle, Maokai top. So I think that pretty much locks them in. And I think you were right about Cypher Soul running it back on set jungle. Unless they're doing Gnar jungle, which I think would be hilarious, they're probably going Gnar top.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Gnar jungle is one of Axman87's favorite pocket picks in solo queue. So if you run across him in solo queue, be sure to ban Gnar and also ban Bard, because that jungler is going to be healing up quite a lot. So we have now just given you all the information you need to beat Axman in solo queue. Sorry, Ax. Sometimes you just got to give the people what they want, right? And that's those insider tips. So we are.
I was gonna suggest that you all add me on League so you don't play ranked at the same time as me, because I will destroy you on Gnar jungle and you will never get over it.
That's true. I mean, that's gotta hurt too, right? Getting beaten by a Gnar jungle is just like it's so skilled. It's so much skill, you know. Axman is just crushing your dreams, and you gotta get over that, right? And fortunately, Riot has instituted the new text line. So you can text that too if you need a little bit of assistance after you're tilted. after Axeman kind of just beats up on you. So anyway, we're going to move on from this discussion of Riot's text system and Axeman's jungle picks and move back on into this draft where the Gnar is going to be in the top lane, so no crazy shenanigans coming through with that one. Very strong pick. As of late, I have a couple people that I know that have been playing Gnar a little bit more, especially against tanks. You're able to stand off a little bit farther and kind of just put in the punishment on him. So apparently it's a lane where Gnar actually does quite well against Maokai. You can stay at range, poke him down a little bit. A lot of auto attacks coming through that don't contribute to Maokai's passive, also for the healing, so that can help quite a lot as well. I don't think Stolen Waffle is going to really be getting solo kills under Rice, but you know, probably will have a little bit more agency against this tank than he did on the Maokai, or on the Malphite, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. So looks like Echo is going to be jungle. Zoe probably going mid here. Yeah, that all makes sense. I like the Gnar. It brings a lot of late game pressure. I feel like you probably just pick Ornn though here instead of the Gnar. But like I said, Gnar is another both a damage source and then also a competent front line. Even when he's not Mega Gnar, as you get into the late game, he can be pretty big, depending on the build too. I feel like I still like Ornn 9 times out of 10. I mean, this team comp has a lot of damage on it already. You have Ezreal and Syndra that would be scaling extremely well, and it's not like Set is a full tank that just doesn't do damage. But I don't think the Gnar necessarily sinks their team comp. I think it's probably just maybe a weakness that they don't have as big a front line.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ornn would be an upgrade to this team comp, but unfortunately they banned it away, so no Ornn was available for them to pick. Could have gone with something like the Shen. I don't think a Shen would have been that bad here, as we have a bit of a dodge, but I don't think the Shen would be altogether awful, just because it can still trade in the lane, you still have the Q to go with the auto attacks, etc. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have the Gnar, like you were just saying, but a little bit less tanky in team fights. Which is not quite what you like to see, as we have been dodged out of this one, as apparently Yuumi was not owned on the account of the individual
that's rough.
That's supposed to be playing it. So that's kind of unfortunate. We're going to be getting back into the champ select in a few minutes here, I would expect, which gives us some more time to keep discussing this team comp and go through an entire another draft again.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to go through the whole draft one more time before we get into game 2 here, and I'm sure they'll be taking care of that as soon as possible. But while we wait, I guess we could just take a look at the pro draft here and say what we don't like about these comps. I already mentioned that Gnar, I feel like it would have been better if it was Ornn. To be honest, I feel if you're Team Death Realm, I'm not 100% on the Kai'Sa pick. I think it's probably pretty good into Ezreal, but considering I think that they picked this before Ezreal, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so I feel like if you're going to blind pick an ADC, you don't go for Kai'Sa. In fact, they probably just could have picked Ezreal themselves if they were going to take Yuumi too. I feel like that would have been a lot better.
I agree. I don't really know what to say. Kai'Sa got a little bit of a buff to her ultimate range recently, and a little bit of a buff a couple patches ago to her Q damage, but she's really not found her way back into the top tier of competitive League of Legends at all. Ezreal, Aphelios, both I think much higher priority than her. Ezreal, especially with the Yuumi, is really, really strong. So I'm not really sure why they went with the Kai'Sa. I think it maybe can carry a little bit harder, but still, like, Ezreal carries really hard. That's why he's so good, right? Is Ezreal can do everything. The new tank build coming through for him, going Gauntlet and then Death's Dance with the Conqueror, loads of cooldown reduction, a lot of defense, should be doing very well against Kai'Sa. Can work in an Executioner's, works very well off of the Q, as we are now into that champ select once again. Professor Bard is the new support here for Team Death Realm. Not actually a new player, just a new account, so switching the name a little bit. So watch out for that one as we are back into the champion select. Hopefully this is the last one.
Yeah, and hopefully we get through this pretty quickly here. I didn't know. Are they just banning that for fun? Yeah, they actually have been banning Lulu this whole series so far, which is kind of bizarre. What do you think that's about?
Why not, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Lulu is strong. I play it with my support that I duo with quite frequently. I think it's very, very strong, just AD carry buffer. I don't know if they maybe have some secret intel about the bot lane of TDR maybe playing it a lot. It didn't receive any buffs, hasn't really been changed at all, so I'm not really sure why it would be coming out other than maybe some scrim stuff, some pocket, some secret intelligence they have on like solo queue accounts or something. But it's a decently strong support. I think it makes sense to take it away if you're trying to get rid of a caster. I would say it's one of the top caster supports. And maybe they just don't like playing against it, right? A lot of people have some trouble playing certain champions, and it would hamper the Gnar if they were trying to go for the Gnar. Maybe that polymorph they're worried about. I'm not really sure, but taking him off the table, I don't know. I think sometimes you just need a filler ban, and you're like, let's ban this guy.
Yeah, the polymorph I feel could be disastrous on most of the members of IKB, so that is probably a good point there. The Vladimir, I'm not really sure about this. I guess I'm just not familiar enough with TDR's players to, like, these are probably target bans, right? So maybe there's like a Monster Vlad player on TDR. That would probably make sense in my mind. We're almost through the draft here, though, and hopefully we can get Yuumi onto their champion. Yeah, and then we get to finally find out if Saber will start heal.
Yeah, I mean, the secret tech has been announced by X-Man, so I think you'd be a fool not to go for it. You would also have to be listening to the stream, which doesn't make a lot of sense while you're also playing the game. But who knows? Maybe they'll go for it. I think it would be hilarious if they started the heal just after you said it, which I guess is the point. It is a hilarious strat, right? So maybe that's what X-Men was going for all along here, as we're 3.5 minutes away from loading into the game, folks. So definitely quite close. 20 seconds before we lock in these picks for sure, and the players go on to load on while we have a bit of spectator delay. So hopefully no more dodging coming through. Everybody set up in their appropriate spots. Not a whole lot of flex picks. Set in the jungle once again, of course, and Syndra's still in the mid lane. A very, very strong champion. One of those strong solo queue champions that just kind of hasn't been going away in these last few patches. Up against Zoe, I don't think Syndra should have a ton of trouble. She doesn't really seem to have bad matchups, so she should be doing pretty well for herself in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. This is a very similar champions, I feel. A lot of single target damage. I feel like the burden of execution is maybe a little bit harder for the Zoe, and that is probably the only real difference. I mean, you have a lot of utility as well with Zoe, but whether that factors into this game or not remains to be seen. I also think that Psy has to hold their cards a little bit closer to their chest as far as the stun goes. That stun has a pretty long cooldown, and it's easy to miss, so you definitely want to make sure that you're nailing that if you do decide to all in the Zoe. But yeah, we got 2.5 minutes now. I gotta say, I'm favoring Imperial Knights again. They have Cypher Soul on set, which has proven to be a potent tool for them. Saber on Bard as well, had a great Bard game. I'm pretty sure I've seen the Stolen Waffle on Gnar before and did pretty well. So I definitely like this pick. I also just kind of like the Gnar pick in general. I mentioned Ornn would probably be better. Doesn't mean I don't like the Gnar pick. I just, in terms of optimizing the team comp, I think Ornn would probably be better than Gnar would. I still really like that they picked Gnar. I think Gnar is really good. Obviously, we told everybody I play a jungle, which I think is hilarious. But Gnar definitely probably better up in the top lane. So
yeah. Probably. That in the jungle. Sorry, Axman, I don't want to rain on your parade, but it doesn't sound that good, actually, especially in competitive play. And I think much better in the top lane. We will see what build he goes for. That, to me, is the most interesting thing about this Gnar top lane, is whether he maybe decides to go for like a Bork lethal tempo or press the attack kind of a build, that auto attack build that some people have been going for, not super recently, but it has been, a thing before in the past. Maybe go for the grasp build, a little bit more defensive, could just go kind of a standard like tank Gnar and try to just get the big ultimate off. So there's a lot of ways you can play this lane, especially up against a tank, right? A little bit easier to go tank against somebody that's going to do a lot more damage, but Maokai not really known for his damage, right? So you don't need as many tanky stats early, and you could just go for a little bit more offense if you want to be more of a split pusher later on in the game. And he is against a fully magic damage team, basically. Not even magic damage topside. Everybody on the team on Team Death Realm does majority magic damage by quite a lot. So the itemization should be quite easy for these champions this game. I would expect to see a lot of Mercury treads, so watch out for that boot selection by these players in this game. It's a full magic damage team for Team Death Realm, so those boots will be in high demand and will serve a lot of purposes, a lot of crowd control as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, what I think would be really great here with Stolen Waffle is Merc treads into Wit's End. How cool would that be? You'd be invulnerable to all the damage coming to you, and you go in for like an on-hit Gnar. I'll swear up and down, by the way, that Bork is the best Gnar item. No one on Earth agrees
Pretty
with
good.
me, but
It's pretty good, actually.
I think it's
I
great.
don't know.
Yeah, it's fantastic. People will say like Frozen Mountain and stuff like that. I don't hate that stuff, but I think Bork is really really good. I'm like way too many champions to just not build it on Gnar. I'm pretty sure Cypher Soul built Bork in the last game. Might be wrong about that one, but it's just such a good item that I feel like it would make a lot of sense. You might even see Bork come through on Ezreal too. That item is crazy right now. It definitely needs a nerf.
Yeah, Bork is a pretty standard item on Ezreal. We'll see if he goes for the Death Stance third build, and that makes the Bork a little bit less relevant. Some people still go at fourth. I myself have not really gotten to a fourth item on Ezreal since I've started playing that build, because the Death Stance is so expensive that it's really hard to get to a third item and then not have already like won or lost the game. And so a lot of times I'll find myself kind of going Muramana, Gauntlet, Death Stance, and then like a stopwatch or something, and then I take a fight and then either win or lose the game. So it's kind of, I don't know what I'm going to build fourth, and I never have to figure it out, so I haven't really thought about that yet. It doesn't sound too bad. Just giving yourself a little bit more healing would definitely be good for Ezreal. This game, not up against a lot of tanks, so I wouldn't expect to see that. The Bork come through. I would expect to see the Gauntlet build still, not against a lot of armor, but it is cheaper. The slow helps, cooldown reduction as well is really nice. And it also will allow him to go for the Mercury Treads because he won't need the cooldown reduction from the Ionian boots. So that could also be good. Probably Death Stance, and then maybe even like a Wit's End or something if he wants to go more on hit. The Wit's End this game, I think, has a ton of value for these auto attackers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're on IK right now, Wits End might just be like a good idea for you. Looking at Ezreal Gnar, but I'm super excited for this game. Carl, Gnar has fleet footwork, so that could mean that they're just going full on hit. No tank items or anything like that, which I feel like is really good into Maokai. People kind of sleep on that Gnar W passive. That burst damage is kind of nuts on tanks. And you could stack it up a lot easier too because Maokai is melee. He's also much easier to keep at arm's length, right? He's melee. He's also very slow too, so you could stack that up on him plenty of times. We're also seeing the return of Phase Rush on Cyber Soul's set as well, so this is a very aggressive top side of the map for the Imperial Knights. This is going to be, it's going to be a shootout. There's going to be fireworks on the top side. Double the cleanse in the mid lane. Both mid laners had the summoner spell. Only one summoner spell heal in this game. It's on Yuumi. Kai'Sa's taking, oh goodness, barrier. Ezreal taking exhaust, and Bard is going to have ignite. So we're all topsy-turvy all over the place here. Season 10 is a lot of fun. I like this meta we have.
Yeah, the summoner spells in the bot lane can be kind of random these days. A lot of defense, once again, coming through for this Kai'Sa Yuumi lane. I don't think it's possible for Ezreal Bard to get a kill. 2v2 in this lane. I think there's way too much defense. You have to get through all the Zumi heals. You have to get through the summoner heal. You have to get through the barrier, and you have to get through the exhaust. I think the only way a kill ever goes over is if Yuumi can get stunned while she's not on Kai'Sa's shoulder and just kind of blown up by the Ezreal Bard, maybe while Kai'Sa's not there or something. I think that's the only way a kill ever goes over because this Kai'Sa is just not going to die. She has barrier, she has heal, she has the exhaust, the heals from the Yuumi coming through. Like, it's just, she's going to have so much health. I would say she can double or even more her effective health within just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, Kai'Sa coming through with a lot of damage very early in the game as well. You have a Kathian Rain that does so much damage, especially single target. We talk about Bard being a roaming support. It's going to be difficult for him to roam because if it is literally just Ezreal taking that Kathian Rain, he's going down. So you were saying that it'd be difficult for Equinox and Saber to get a kill in this lane. There's a real possibility that Zoshium flips it on them and gets the kill in this lane too. So we do have the pause coming out as soon as we load onto Summoner's Rift, which you'll love to see, and hopefully we can get this resolved in a timely manner. I'm pretty sure we've been trying to get in this game for the last 25 minutes or so.
Gotta love it. We do have a bit of a disconnection by Cyphersoul, apparently. So hopefully he can phase rush his way back into the game here in a somewhat alacritous fashion. And we can get on to the Rift proper here as we're just kind of barely loading in. The champions haven't even arrived, right, in the league. They're all excited for the battle, and Cyphersoul didn't show up. So we got a couple of more minutes to keep breaking down the teams here. I do like what you said about the bot lane potentially being able to flip the script on Equinox and Saber and get a kill for a Zodium in the bot lane. That Cathian Rain does a lot of damage, especially once it's ranked up or leveled up with that extra 100 AD that Kai'Sa needs. That can do honestly about half your health bar if you don't have armor. The isolated Q once it's upgraded with a little bit more AD, and that can take a lot of people by surprise, right? You get auto attack Q, auto attack, you can lose most of your health, and she has the killer instinct to follow. It's really hard to get away from her if you are isolated. So being an isolated target against Void people is just generally not a good idea in League of Legends, and Kai'Sa is no exception. Can do a lot of burst damage. Equinox probably going to have the armor build, so that will help a little bit with that. Exhaust could also come down to stop a little bit of that damage, but I think there's a lot of threat with Azodium in this game because Saber just can't pump out the heals as fast as Yuumi can.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully we're getting through this pause in just a couple seconds here. We have word that somebody's client, I guess, crashed, but I think we're going to get started in just a couple seconds. Looks
Seeing
like
ours in the chat, X-Men.
Yeah, we're seeing some readying up, and we'll finally get to see what Saber starts. Will he start heal? Will he start stun? We'll find out in just a little bit here.
We will. The game's been on pause. The drama. What will he pick? Nothing leveled up so far. It's very dramatic. He's picked nothing. Sir, take a spell. The suspense.
It's probably a good idea to not take a spell super early, but
yeah, don't do this in solo queue. This is a good solo queue trick, everybody. Always hold your thing. Hold your level up until you know if there's going to be an invade or not, because sometimes it can change what you need here. But the one game that we care a lot about what he takes, nothing gets taken. As on the other, just the rest of the map, other than Saber here, bit of a 5-point, little bit of pressure in the mid lane, purposely bad, walking forward onto side or onto Cypher Soul. Actually, not a whole lot going down.
Ooh, is that mana flow banned? Let me check, see if they.
I don't. He hit the tower. He just got some damage on the tower.
Yeah, so I think
technically genius. I'm not sure. I mean, he got some damage on the turret, so it actually is worth it in the end. But it just looks weird. That was a strat I tried to convince my friends was good, like 5 years ago. Running down a lane and just hitting the turret and executing for the damage. So could have been disastrous there for Professor Bard, but it worked out and really made me stop and think.
No, I'm pretty sure you get some kind of like mana flow band stack, don't you, for hitting it or something?
She might get gold.
Oh, you get gold on your gold quest. Yeah, you get. Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, 30 gold and damage on the turret. It's huge. On the other hand, we have an update. It is the Cosmic Binding taken, so no heal. I'm very sorry, X-Men. My condolences.
It's rough.
And
it's rough.
Yeah, Cypher Soul gonna be kind of wishing he had those heals in the jungle, probably.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna clear the jungle without it, but goodness. Yeah, we'll see how this works for Saber. This is probably going to be just fine and completely inconsequential, and we've made a huge deal about it. So that's my bad, everybody. But look at that Astronaut Nara skin. I like that one, man. Might have to pick that one up. That's good stuff. And with Astronaut Bard too, IK is all but assured victory. Sorry, folks. I'm just a little bit biased towards good skins is all.
We are not being paid to say that, I promise. Anyway, Saber walking in the bot lane, a little bit of poke onto his Zodium. I also like how we went on about how it was inconsequential what ability he took, and then immediately started talking about what skin he had, as if that was somewhat more consequential there.
Yeah, more meaningful,
anyway, yeah. That's how you know the early game is boring, when Axe and Jarl are just talking about which skins are better. Then each other, level 2s in the bot lane, have come through for Equinox and Saber. A little bit of pressure for themselves. Sai putting some poke down in the mid lane, as the Knights lane seem to be having a lot of pressure kind of across the board. Just up a little bit in the push. Nara has got Mega in the top lane, has the Doran's Blade, so I think there is hope on the horizon for an on-hit build.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think Fleet is probably just good on Nara, period, but I would definitely take Fleet if I was going full on hit and just going like first item Bork or something like that. So I'm pretty excited about this one. Maokai, just a great target for that W passive. I think we already talked about. And, you know, if Gotti comes up the top lane, there is some kill pressure onto the Gnar, but he also has some escape mechanics he can make use of, and I feel like that'll probably enable him to build a higher damage build if they want to go down that route. So we'll see what he goes for here. Got the first dragon of the game coming up in a minute and a half. Cyber Soul's got the scuttle outside the dragon pit. Could come into play here. I believe it'll be despawning just as the dragon comes out. It's like a minute and a half on scuttle, I think, the shrine, but We'll keep track of that for you as well. Purposely Bad getting shoved into their turret now. Sai is feeling super confident in this mid lane. And,
Jungler's kind of hanging out, so it works out for him there. Top lane Waffle's pretty much just been auto-attacking Rice the entire time. And Rice is kind of sustaining up, but he's very low on mana, so he might have to put a recall in and maybe expend that teleport early. Stolen Waffle, I would say, down a little bit of CS, but I would say he's winning this lane so far. Has just a lot of pressure advantage, and Gotti just has to scale up a little bit, get a few levels under his belt before a huge number of ganks can come through. So the lanes of the Imperial Knights feeling pretty safe to just kind of push up a little bit more than they might normally. And they do have both scuttles, so a lot of vision control actually just coming through for them. Knights in a pretty good position early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Rice is almost completely out of mana now, so the heat is on at the moment. He's got to kind of either pull the trigger on something, maybe have Gotti come up top and give him a reset, hold lane or something, or he's just going to have to let Soul and Waffle crash a wave into his turret. Not sure what he's going to go for there. Dragon coming up in 5 seconds, though. We saw Cypher Soul solo the first Dragon of the game in game 1. We'll see if he goes for a repeat on that one. Gotti not looking for the gank in the top lane, despite Soul and Waffle being basically the most gankable champion ever. I think he is probably worried he doesn't have enough support from Rice at this point. That would basically be a 1v1 with a champion who has a level on you, which could be rough. So maybe a good idea, Gotti not going for that one. Oh, mid lane here.
Fake Exhaust has been expended by Purposely Bad, picking up those Summoner spells, able to get a little bit of a trade back on Sai, who is once again out of mana. In the top lane, we did see the teleport come through, and the Bramble Vest has been picked up by Rice. He's saying, quit hitting me. I am going to give some damage back. Just naturally, and a very good item picked up. Obviously very strong against those auto-attacking champions that you do play against the top lane. It's a very strong item by itself. The Gnar expended actually by Stolen Waffle. He just wants to clear out that wave, I think, and get himself a nice recall. Ultimate was expended, but I don't think it will matter too much in the long run. It's not a super long cooldown, and I think he's just going to go for a recall and just grab all those creeps and then go back and put in a buy.
Yeah, when you can only use your ult under certain conditions, I mean, it's not a super big deal when you're blowing the cooldown because you can't really rely on that being up anyway. I think it would just kind of be nice to have it up the next time he has Mega Gnar. So using it to clear a wave to be able to get the last little bit for this phage, it's probably fine. I think he's probably okay doing that. Cyber Soul does solo first Dragon in the game, by the way, so they pick up that the Cloud Drag there. Gonna have an Ocean Drag up next, and we're seeing the Bard roam. Saber looking for something mid lane, might not find what he's looking for. Purposely Bad is very far back in the lane and does have Ghost up at the moment, so that would be a rough gank, you would have to imagine. Saber might be looking to gank his own bot lane here.
This might actually work out for him. A little bit of a delay on that magical journey there, but just spooking Azodium and Professor Bard there in the bot lane. Sai forced to go back for a recall, and look at this build coming through by Sai. Very respectful, very defensive, going just straight for the Mercury Treads. Had money for that lost chapter, didn't even want it, just wanted to go for that defense. I think a very smart buy. You can always get a little bit more damage later on, but if you get put behind through a few deaths, it can be a lot harder for you. And Syndra's damage is already high enough as it is, the base damages. So I think she's going to be just fine in this lane, a little bit more safety, and should be able to survive an Echo gank. I would expect that those boots early on are very, very strong.
And like we mentioned, the entire enemy team is magic damage. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about Purposely Bad not doing damage. Neither will Gotti or Rice or Zoshium or Yumi or, like, anybody on the enemy team. So, yeah, it's a good pickup. It's a good buy. Getting tier 2 boots early is probably good for a mid laner anyway. You can get back into lane faster and get an experience lead on the enemy mid laner, and we're already seeing that in the mid lane. Sai has almost half a level lead, I think. Yeah, onto Purposely Bad, so definitely getting some mileage out of those boots so far. Top lane, Stolen Waffle looking for the Phage. What do you think of Triforce here, Carl?
It has to be the Blood Cleaver. Sorry, Axe. I don't think the unhit build's coming through, at least earlier. I don't think Trinity Force first is what you would build here. I think if he was going for that, he'd probably go for the Stinger immediately, just for the attack speed early on in the game. So I think we are in for a Black Cleaver, just kind of a more standard build. It's Purposely Bad going to get pushed down, and then Unleash Power was used, I think, just to trade. I don't think he thought that would kill. A little bit too far away from that, but a lot of damage coming through for a champion that has no ability power yet, and went for those Merc Treads. So had that been the Sorcerer's Shoes, I think that actually would have been a kill
probably coming through. So, you know, what do we know? Although cleanse, of course, could have been used by Purposely Bad to get himself out to a bit of safety. So, could have been, should have been, maybe would have been, but who knows about that one. In the top lane, Stolen Waffle uses ultimate once again a couple of seconds ago. Very short cooldown on that one, so only a little bit more than a minute. So able to use that kind of every time he's mega. Able to get a little bit of a nice trade onto Rice and force him out of lane again, trying to assert some dominance.
Yeah, when you can reasonably count on you and your jungler not being able to dive your enemy laner and having like Nar's ultimate, you can pretty much just always use it on the wave. You're never going to use it on anything else anyway, so it makes sense that we'd use it that way. Rift Herald picked up by Cypher Soul as final chapter, channeled in the bot lane from Professor Bard. Doesn't garner them any kind of advantage. No kills there, so that's a rough one. Cooldown, I believe, isn't too long. Yeah, about 120 seconds, so not the longest cooldown ever, but unfortunate nonetheless. Stolen Waffle has about 1,200 gold in hand at the moment, so I think could be close to Black Cleaver at this point. I think 1,600 might complete the item. Not 100% of that
somewhere, I don't know exactly what the number is, but has 1,250 already put into it, so we'll be able to get at least a few more components of that. The health component will be coming through. Certainly, if he goes back, I would expect him to try to stay in lane until he has the full cleaver, just to minimize the number of times he needs to recall. However, the dragon's coming up in 50 seconds, so you might want to have that for that. I don't know how close he can get to it, but I would expect to see him kind of power farming up here in the top lane as the second dragon is up very shortly. There will be no final chapter and no Tempered Fate for that. Tempered Fate was expended in exchange for Professor Bard's final chapter ultimate. As once again, we got a very slow game, Axeman. That might be about to change, though, in the bot lane.
Yeah, no first blood yet. Still up here, even later than it was in game one. Now almost at 11 minutes with no first blood. And I think you might be right. I think we're about to see a pretty big fight over the dragon here, Carl. And it should be about to blow up.
Zodium might have to get himself out of this one. Fight down in the bot lane side with a nice knockback. Killer Instinct to get a Zodium and his support out of this one. There's the ultimate from Gotti to get himself away. A flash cancel on the teleport. Teleport's been canceled. That was a flash used by Rice to keep the Gnar away from this fight. Gotti going very low. The Ignite gonna burn him down. First blood gonna go over in favor of Saber. He's able to flash himself out of this fight. Rice also taking a lot of punishment in the top lane. He is gonna go down to that auto attack. Stolen Waffle picking up that kill. He says, "You stop my teleport, I'm gonna stop your life." As 2 kills for 0 picked up in favor of the Imperial Knights. Herald in the bot lane, they're going for the dragon.
Yeah, and Purposely Bad still trying to defend this with the Zodium. We'll see. They might actually force IK off the dragon here.
They got a kill. Actually, might be going in for a second one as well. Purposely Bad doing a lot of work. Going to be taken down. The Zodium has arrived. No ultimate, no summoners, though. I think they have forced him off the dragon, though. Purposely Bad trading lives with the AD carry as the pause comes through.
Yeah, so IK pulling ahead in a big way, and I think you're right, Carl. I think the Stolen Waffle just basically saying, like, yeah, I know you can interrupt my teleport. I'm going to teleport right in front of you, but if you come close enough to me to do that, I'm going to run you down. So, you know, make a decision. And, you know, Rice made their decision and went down for it there. So, Stolen Waffle doing very well in that little macro situation there, but Waffle also had Nara up, had their ultimate up, and used that on Rice. So you were saying it's a low cooldown. I'll say, goodness sakes, he always has it up, but using it finally to get the kill on Rice, who eventually is going to leave their tower, and did it there. Now Rice, it looks like they're teleporting directly on top of Stolen Waffle. Not sure how, like, if they have a plan in mind, because you'll notice they've teleported onto the minions, not onto the actual
tower.
Onto the actual tower. So this is to me, I would say it's an aggressive teleport. I'm not sure if they think maybe they have kill pressure on a Stolen Waffle, but I would say probably not.
I would guess it's just an inconsequential click on the map.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Yeah.
Probably, to my mind, probably. You know, you just click on the minimap. That's where you end up. Potentially, that can happen, or you just click on the creeps because you pan the camera up there and press your button, and that's where he's going to end up. It doesn't really matter. He's not going to be able to be taken down. He's not going to be able to take down Stolen Waffle, so it doesn't matter at all where he teleports. Honestly, Stolen Waffle does have quite a lot of gold in his pocket, 2,300 and a half, so 2,300 on that one. That's a weird number. I don't know why that sounds so weird, but words are hard. So there's going to be a Black Cleaver coming through, or whatever white enemy wants, pretty much, that has a phase in it when he goes back to base. Although, an interesting timing, actually, the Dragon being started up by Team Death Realm.
Yeah, I feel like this might be their only opportunity to actually take it. I feel like they're not going to get pressure on the map like this again, so this is probably a good maneuver, and they pick it up fairly easily anyway, so definitely the right call on that one. Now they have a dragon apiece, and it really seems to me more like TDR is kind of delaying the Dragon Soul, the eventual Dragon Soul from IK, who have just been very dominant so far. I mean, we just saw the first kills of the game. 3 of the 4 went to IK, so not a good look here for TDR. And Stolen Waffle is back, and with the Black Cleaver now, Carl, and he is doing tons of damage.
Holy cow, he doesn't even need on-hit items. Rice very low, no flash, he's got nowhere to go.
Is he not going to get this?
Come through under the turret. Rice, Stolen Waffle under the turret.
Wait a second.
And
okay.
Comes down. Stolen Waffle has picked up that kill, but a little bit more suspense than maybe he needed.
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe he's actually doing that much damage, I guess. You know, part of that is that Rice basically just opted for more armor items than health items, and Stolen Waffle does, with the W passive, I think does percent health damage. I know they do like percent AP,
max health.
Percent max health, and then also percentage of your AP too. And then they also have the Black Cleaver, which is shredding armor. So if all your attack stats are armor, yeah, Stolen Waffle is going to do a ton of damage to you.
Cypher Soul behind Purposely Bad here in the mid lane. Purposely Bad pretty low to still be here. Hex Flash into the Showstopper. Purposely Bad doesn't know what hit him. He's going to be taken out of this one. Cypher Soul picking up the kill.
Yeah, and that's basically just how you play set jungle. Is you might not have like the best clear or the best you know, anything really. There's probably always going to be a jungler that has something better than you. But if you can ult somebody out of their tower, you basically done your job. Like that's the whole set jungle gimmick. You get a set on the map. You can ult people out of their out from under their turrets, and you also get a big set, a big tank juggernaut. In the late game in your team fight. So yeah, it's Cypher Soul doing their job to the T, and yeah, so it's a good set here. It's got 200 gold on that shutdown as well. So I mentioned the top side of the map for IK would be super aggressive. They've had a lot of success with this model, so I definitely like to see this. We don't see a lot of teams in Sal Esports play through the top side of the map, so this is pretty cool to see.
Stolen Waffle, very aggressive, up 2 levels, so you can understand why that might be up against Rice. Has picked up the Executioner's Calling just to get a little bit more damage through, essentially, as he's cutting the healing from Rice on those auto attacks. There's another engage. There's an R into the wall. We mentioned how it is always up. Wall up going to get a nice stun as well, doing so much damage against Rice here in the top lane, as Rice was actually forced to buy a stopwatch. He just purchased that. That's not from Runes. He bought that himself. A little bit of an unfortunate purchase. Maybe thinking he just needs to survive a tower dive even, and that's not a place you want to be in if you're a Maokai. We might be flipping the script on him here, though. Stolen Waffle has to get himself out, as there are 3 members in the top lane, Gotti and Bard, coming up to say hi. Waffle seems to be okay.
Yeah, Rift Herald just spawned up in the top lane as well, so a good time for Professor Bard to make their top side debut. We'll see if they use this opportunity to go for the Rift Herald. Saber's up here as well, though, so it would be a 4v4, I think. Something like that. Yeah, something. It might actually get to a 5v5 here, as we are seeing Azocium move down the mid lane, too. So it could be a big old fight over kind of a weird objective to throw 5 men at.
Yeah, Maokai in base, though. Rice had to recall after being pushed out by Stolen Waffle, so that lane advantage might turn into something more here. Cypher Soul going to be going in onto Gotti. Purposely Bad has arrived on the scene as well. Stolen Waffle walking down, control ward being taken out. Herald is down to 4,000 out of 3,000. There's the eye going to be hit again. 1k on that objective is smited away, being picked up by Cypher Soul and the Imperial Knights as they do look to clear the area and get out with their objective. Maybe walking top side. They might like to take out this top tower. It's just Rice to defend. Has flash, has ultimate, and it has that stopwatch, remember. So he should be okay versus a dive, but his tower could be in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. So Stolen Waffle and Cypher Soul have the most gold on your team right now. If you could destroy this top lane turret, you could free them up for all sorts of shenanigans mid lane. So I think this is probably a really good move. They do have Rift Herald, but not going to use it on the top turret. That makes a lot of sense. They obviously don't need to, I don't think. But back's going to be interrupted by the minion wave here. Get trolled, Imperial Knights. Get trolled. But they are going to be clearing this wave before taking the back eventually. Dragon up in 20 seconds. Could that wave interrupting their backs affect this game? I don't know. It looks like Gotti just got a free dragon out of it, but that remains to be seen.
I mean, it does delay 10 seconds. Sai gonna get jumped on as well. Has the cleanse, decides not to use it. Then the flash has come through. A nice knockback showstopper as well by Cypher Soul into the middle of this team. Gotti very low, might have to use the ultimate back. There he does. Chrono Break might be just find his way onto Sai instead. Unfortunate, the Cinder sticking around a little bit too long. Cypher Soul now the focus target. Azocium being focused on, has to back up to get away from Tempered Fate. Equinox walking forward now, feeling very confident. Arcane shift forward. Even the True Shot Barrage gonna come across as well, but he's walking and getting hit by the Drowsy. Very vulnerable here, gonna get knocked down by that damage. Saber tries to get himself out. He's gonna be going down very low as well. The ultimate from Rice has arrived on the scene. Soul and Waffle very big. This is gonna be a huge star into the wall. The flash forward. He takes the portal. Takes the portal to get away from Gotti. That's not what he wanted. Could have been the kill, but he was not able to secure it. Went on a magical journey instead, as that just goes terribly wrong for the Imperial Knights. They try to contest this dragon and they just kind of get ripped apart.
The narrative of Gnar going Mega Gnar and accidentally falling into a portal as they're trying to kill somebody is so funny to me. But yeah, it is going to be Gotti picking up this dragon for their team. Now they are up on dragons, TDRR. I don't think they've been in this position yet in the series, so they're probably thinking pretty good at the moment. They're still 5k gold behind though, so still a long ways to go, but you know, things are starting to look up. And to be honest, Carl, I really do feel like that minion wave interrupting 3 backs in the top lane completely changed the trajectory of that fight. I feel like if they have 3 members there, even I think you said 10 seconds earlier, that makes all the difference. But you know, I guess you'll have to decide, the viewers at home, if that is what made the difference in this team fight, or if it was just you know, sheer dumb luck of Gnar falling into a portal.
Yeah, a great sapling by Rice to stop those 2 recalls, and very, very well done by him. We will, of course, have to decide on your own at home how impactful that was. Gotti gonna get hit by the Tempered Fate. Rice trying to zone off. Saber on the side. The tower taken out by that Rift Herald, who's probably not going to get another charge off. No, she's going to be taken down. That Eye in the back, too vulnerable. She's taken out. 1 tower goes over in favor of the Knights, and they look to get themselves out.
Yeah, they certainly do. Saber has got some pretty good portals, man. I can see why he's picking up the Bard. That portal, I don't think I knew you could hit that portal at that angle. That was a really long one. But yeah, I think we might have to do an interview with the sapling after this game. I think that might be the MVP here for TDR. We'll have to get them in for an interview. But now it is TDR just looking to defend these lanes. It's not like Imperial Knights have Baron or anything. They just have an incredible amount of map pressure. So they're kind of on the back foot looking for the defense in all 3 lanes. And Saber making the way to the top lane. Might be looking for Rice here.
That's
no,
the bot
actually.
lane. Yes.
Yeah, the bot lane. Saber looking for the blue buff, actually.
Yeah, going for the blue buff. We might have to get the Lorax in later because he does speak for the tree. He's going to see what he thinks about the sapling play there. But the Knights looking to just wrest control of this game and kind of ignore what happened with that sapling and just go for some more kills.
That's
Maybe
good
here
stun.
under Rice. Yeah, nice stun on the wall. Forces the ultimate out, but that's going to be about it. Everybody walks away after they get their
Wow. I didn't know you could hit that portal either, Carl.
Think of all the things we're learning today, X-Men.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe I need to learn Bard from Saber, not the other way around. I'll have to sign up for Bard lessons here. Still and Waffle consistently giving it to Rice, this time in the bot lane. Now has 2 Ruby Crystals. I think maybe going for Frozen Mallet. I don't build Frozen Mallet ever, so I'm not 100% what the component parts are, but I know there's health in there somewhere. So maybe that's what we're going for.
Health, very important. And Frozen Mallet, a great item on Gnar. So I would expect that to be the item coming through for Stolen Waffle. I think it's good. If you're not going for the big on-hit build, I think the slow is really crucial. He'll be able to run down Rice. The slow is pretty big. And I think that's a key item in this game. So I'm a big proponent of that in this game, as we have yet another pause. And it's been different people lagging every time. So it's the 3rd lag pause we've had this game. And maybe just everybody living in the same storm-ridden area, I guess.
Yeah, really. Maybe Team Death Realm is phoning it in from EUS. I don't know, but this is not looking great for sure. A lot of lag coming through, especially in their bot lane. Might be why they're. Well, I was gonna say might be why they're so far behind, but they're not really. I guess we can take a look at the gold. Oh, they actually are about 1,000 gold on both positions, so that is pretty rough. So maybe it's all down to lag, folks. I would say probably not, but you could definitely make the argument. We are getting readies in the chat, and hopefully we'll get started back up here in just a couple seconds.
Would be good to get back into the game without too much more delay. I'm a little disappointed to see the Trinity Force build coming through for Equinox in this game. I think the Mallet build is still good. I know he's not against that much AD, and so you don't really need the armor, but I think it would free him up to go Mercury Treads, and I think that in and of itself is worth it. Having that extra cooldown reduction, because he has gone for the Lucidity boots, I think he would actually be a lot tankier and just a lot more able to survive in these fights if he had gone for that defensive build, especially because his top side's so far ahead, right? He doesn't need to be hard carrying with damage, he just needs to be staying alive and pumping it out in these fights, and I think that would allow him to do so a little bit easier, but that was not the choice that he decided to go for. Rice in the bot lane is out of mana, but seems pretty content to just kind of walk away after he cleared the wave, probably go back for some more of that resource, get a purchase in, and rinse and repeat. He's got 1,800 in his pocket.
Yeah, I'm also... So I don't necessarily hate Triforce. I think it's kind of weird he built tier and then just didn't complete the Manamune and get it stacking. Unless he's just not going for a Manamune and just is going to have a tier.
That seems unlikely.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe a strategy, but oh, Saber on a Bard.
Oh, missing in that one, but the CC should be enough to lock that out. And there's the showstopper expended for the support. Tempered Fate goes out. Azoshium, a nice dodge on that one. Cypher Soul still. Oh, a huge scout of the week coming for Azoshium. Very low. The Blast Cone not going to work out for him. True Shot Barrage a little bit too late to have too much of an impact, but it might have picked up that kill. Rice now taking up. Cypher Soul trying to get himself away from this, going very low. Another nice scout of the week, and the Haymaker Shield going to come out to keep him alive. Gotti and Rice now on the run. Asleep going to force the flash from Cypher Soul. He's able to get himself away from this, and he still has Hex Slash, so who even cares? 2 kills go over the bot lane down for Team Death Valley.
And there's something about an 8-foot Vastaya just body slamming a cat into the ground that screams animal cruelty in a way nothing else quite could. We do have the dragon coming up in 15 seconds here, folks. It's going to be a mountain, as they all are from here on out. And to be honest, really benefits both teams. I would say probably IK a little bit more, having the set and the Gnar. But, you know, it's never bad to have bonus resistances. Pretty much every champion likes that. I can't think of one that would be like bonus resistances. No, thanks. That's not good. But yeah, I think if you're a tankier champion and you're already building more resistances, it's probably a little bit more impactful for you to pick up the mountain dragons.
Yeah, percents of bigger numbers add more. That is that's some quick math for you there. So will be more bonus to those top lane champions, and would be a lot of a bonus to Equinox too if he was building any defensive statistics, but instead he's just going to take a bunch of burst damage and have a Trinity Force, so that's good for him. True Shot Barrage is going to be canceled out by the Tempered Fate teleport coming through. This is going to be Rice straight in the middle of this team. Equinox trying to cut himself away. Rice going very low, very quickly. A lot of shred from that one. Gotti trying to go in, but he's not able to find a parallel convergence. Stolen Waffle taking up so much in the backline final chapter. Not going to get a whole lot done. There is the Gnar. Rice still tanking up, though. Has the heals on his back going very low. The Unleashed Power is enough to take out the Maokai. He is off the map. Dragon goes over in favor of the Knights, and they pick up a kill.
Yep, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Stolen Waffle sold a Ruby Crystal, because one went to Jarm's Fist, but he had another one, and now it's not there.
Giant Spell? Question mark?
Yeah, does a Ruby Crystal go into Giant Spell?
I do not
thought
know.
you just bought it straight up. Well, maybe it is. I'm not sure.
Nobody knows. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything about Gnar, but Equinox here clearing some of these Krugs. Just trying to take that last jungle camp before they start to focus on the top side of the map where the Baron is. It's 4 minutes to the next dragon, so you can pretty much leave the bottom side of the map alone, unless you're clearing the camps out of there and trying to get some of that gold. Now both teams should be looking for the Baron here. It is 24, almost 25 minutes, so we should have both sides with the ability to take Baron, I would say. So it's definitely a threat from either side taking that objective. You want to make sure you have the vision control of it. Both teams have a control ward in the Baron pit, excuse me. So you know there's not going to be a whole lot of question if the enemy team is doing it or not. So that might free them up a little bit to go elsewhere on the map. And looks like IK is taking that opportunity to clear the top side or bot side enemy jungle.
Yeah, for sure. I did look it up. There is a Ruby Crystal in Giant's Build. So very important. We've solved that mystery. Gotti might have to solve the mystery of his own low health bar, though. It does have flash to get out if he does need it. Able to just use that E to get over the wall. Rice and Stolen Waffle just continuing their top lane fight. Rice chasing himself, or running himself away from this final chapter, going a little bit short. Redemption at the top up the members of IK as this fight might continue. Stolen Waffle just ignoring Rice, going to jump over the wall to disengage. Everybody going to be backing up. Purposely bad going to go forward. Going to get stopped by the set. Still does not have Showstopper available. Equinox going very low. Has to flash over the wall to keep himself safe. Tempered Fate going to be used as well. Gotti on the side, though, could be in all sorts of trouble. Going very low. Stolen Waffle going to be picking up the kill. Cypher Soul just enabling so much for his team on this. Set such a strong carry, and Syndra all the time in the top lane.
Yeah, for sure. Syndra gets the turret in the top lane here. I don't think you can push any further than that. That might be pretty greedy. And I think you just take the reset here if you're IK. Shove this wave out and then go for the reset. We're seeing Soul and Waffle look for something, though. Maybe going bot lane to shove that in?
Could be. He's walking off. He's full health, so he can kind of do whatever he wants in the Gnar at this point, right? 3-0.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty tanky. Set has picked up Warmog's armor as well. That Frozen Mallet will be completed once Stolen Waffle goes back to base. So this is a very tanky and very strong top side of the map for IK. They have essentially free reign on the map. Both flashes for AD carries were taken out in that fight, so they will be down for the next fight. Something to watch, as Zoshium especially doesn't have quite the mobility that Equinox does throughout the team fight. Has that ultimate, of course, but that's not always enough. Only a one-time use as opposed to that arcane shift that can, be used 3 or 4 times in a fight.
Absolutely. So Frozen Mallet is built by Stolen Waffle. They're also picking up a Negatron Cloak, which might be Wit's End, I think.
I hope so.
I think we'll check that out, but I think that might be the move here. An attack speed item is going to be pretty good, but yeah, take a look at Cypher Soul. Dude's pushing 4,000 health. That's pretty nuts. He does have the Warmog Spirit Visage as well. It's some pretty heavy health items, and here's the fight.
There's the final chapter. Has been used. Rise to the ultimate as well to try to get a little bit of crowd control. Sai clearing the area with the Scatter the Weak. And you said here's the fight. The fight's gone, and nobody really hit each other. So that one kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, suddenly no fight. It looks like TDR kind of looking for the pick there, but for starters, Cypher Soul, we just mentioned, almost 4,000 health, so picking this set, going to be very, very difficult. He's at a point where could 1v5 your team? Maybe. If things go very wrong for you for some reason. But in this case, Cypher Soul just kind of walks away. There's plenty of movement speed on the set at this point to outrun Kai'Sa and Maokai, so they get out of that situation, and 2 ults expended for nothing. Now Gotti looking for the jungle, but it's already gone, my friend. Might get picked actually here. IK with the death push.
Who's catching who? Gotti able to get out here, but he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Should be able to navigate that one and escape with his life. Stone Waffle going to get jumped on. He's going down actually reasonably quickly. He is against 3 members, though. Has been exhausted. That used by Professor Bard. Sai on the side. Might be trading on to Rice. Taking a few auto attacks. Purposely bad. Taking some damage as well. As this fight is off to a bit of a slow start. Saplings coming through for a bit more poke. Rice taking the Narcus in exchange. Purposely bad being healed up by that Yuumi. Sai might be a little bit caught out here, though. The flash to try to get on him. There's the Drowsy. Doesn't have the cleanse to get out of that. Yes, he is able to do that. Scatter the Weak going to get a nice push back as this fight going to continue. Gotti going to have to be forced back. No Mega Gnar. Stolen Waffle taken out straight away. Haymaker has traded back. Gotti going to be falling out the side of this one. Equinox now free firing onto his Zodium. Can he get himself out? Going very low. He's going to be falling too. Equinox, who is just free firing on the side. Rice can't do anything with this one. Final chapter not going to be enough. A nice root might actually be enough to get themselves out, but it's not enough to win the fight. They lose it 3-1, and the Dragon going to be picked up by IKB.
Yeah, this is Soul Point. Purposely Bad is still here. They're going to have to give this one, though. They're backing off, going up in the top side maybe to clear that wave before both these teams look for Baron again, as that Dragon is on a very long cooldown now. Equinox looking for some waves mid lane, but yeah, Soul Waffle went down pretty early in that fight. Shutdown Gold went over to, oh goodness, was it Purposely Bad, I think, picked that one up? I think it might have been. I'm not 100% on that one, though.
Gotti got Waffles.
Yeah, and then there was actually maybe not. I think that was the only shutdown. I think it was just Stolen Waffle that went down in that fight, so they actually don't give up too much shutdown gold at all. In fact, I think that was only at 300 was on the Gnar, so
400 on the Gnar,
400, so nothing too big there, but a little bit of a comeback, we'll say. Again, not sure who picked up the kill, so if that was on to Purposely Bad, that could be pretty impactful here.
It went over to Echo, so Gotti picking that one up for himself. Not exactly the ideal target, but not awful, right? The Echo very strong in his own right at some point. Rice getting run down. This Frozen Mallet is quite strong at slowing him down. Unfortunately, Mega Gnar came through, so you can't really continue to chase those auto attacks, as that passive is not there in the Mega Gnar form, so a little bit unfortunate there for them. but Rice he should be okay in the side lane. I don't think he can really get run down completely by Stone Waffle. Rice just so tanky that at this point it would take a lot of auto attacks to take him down. He obviously will lose eventually. Right is down 2 levels, but he is very strong in just running away, able to throw himself some heals, the ultimate if he really needs it. So I think he's going to just kind of slowly lose in the side lanes, but I don't think he'll really be getting solo killed as much as we saw earlier.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some pretty big items now with the Sunfire Cave and the Spirit Visage. And really the Bramble Vest, I think, is going to be the biggest obstacle in Stolen's way, and it's just...
He's gonna get stunned up here. He's going down, you have to think. Equinox gonna pick up that kill, use the ultimate to get away from Psy, and then had nothing left for Equinox and Saber. Pings immediately onto the Baron. Cypher Soul running down the mid lane. Rice can't really stop anything here. He's just a tank. Cypher Soul up in the front does so much damage. Final chapter and the ultimate from Rice. Heaven Expended Tempered Fate onto the Kaisa. Stolen Waffle is now in the middle of this fight. A huge dart to the wall. There is the Indicary taken off of Summoner's Rift straight away. This fight is just a whitewash in favor of the Imperial Knights. Every member's been taken out. That's the ASU. They have to think that's going to be the end of the game, Axeman. That's the 5-0 fight they were looking for. Gotti is the only one up in less than half a minute, and I don't think he can defend the base. 5 versus 1. Only one wave of minions, actually, but you have to think this is going to be the end of the game. They are on.
Oh, yeah.
The first one's under fire. It's going to be going down straight away. It's just Gotti left. I don't think he can do anything except just watch his Nexus be taken down. The second Nexus tower is down. They're on to the Nexus itself. Equinox taking a lot of damage, but doesn't matter at all. This Nexus is going to fall. Imperial Knights Blue going to pick up a clean 2-0 win over Team Death Realm.
Yeah, and a bizarre second game there. For starters, I don't think I've ever seen a set get that big before, or just really commit to the tank stats before. Dude had Warmog, Spirit. They might not have enough of a wave. I'm pretty sure Cyber Soul could tank both of those turrets for like 15 shots before they went down. He was just so big in this fight. And yeah, I mean, I think the weirdest part about this game was the comp from TDR. I mean, they were all AP. It's just so strange. I mean, we never see this. I think there was a lot of different itemizations that were super bizarre too, that were probably necessary, but definitely didn't do them any favors. I mean, Gotti went full damage on this game. He did have the Cinder Hulk, but other than that, he's got the Lich Bane, he's got the Proto Belt as well, and Stork Shoes too. So goes basically full damage, almost no tank stats. And yeah, you also have the Zoe and Kaisa too, who are doing the same things, obviously for different reasons. They are like straight up carry champions. I don't expect Zoe to go tank or anything like that, but they kind of needed the damage, right? They're not doing enough damage because the entire enemy team is just stacking MR on them, and now they can't do anything. So they needed that damage, but now suddenly all you have is the front line from Rice, who is like 3 levels behind everybody else. So definitely an unfortunate situation for him.
Yeah, just they didn't really have enough tank because Rice was so far high, and they didn't have enough damage because they were kind of all AP, and just didn't really click for TDR. Really, this whole night, I think both these team comps, they kind of looked good on paper, and the execution just didn't really work out. They didn't play together well enough, and Rice just had very little impact in this series. Even in the first game in the Shen, it just didn't work out for him, right? Some of the ultimates got canceled out, even just nothing really clicking here for TDR. And the Imperial Knights, their macro play just very, very strong throughout the series. They lost a couple of dragons in this game based on some interesting recall timings and that sapling from Rice, a high point in that game for TDR. But throughout, their Herald play was really good. Their dragon control was good. They were getting towers when they needed to it, and that just kind of let them snowball these leads, get really far ahead, and then close out the games.
Yeah, definitely. So eventually Equinox completed Mana Moon. I don't think we got to talk about that. He had, for some reason, QSS. I'm not really sure. I guess for the Zoe, maybe.
Probably,
yeah, for the Bubble, Nature's Grasp too would probably be unfortunate for him. But I don't know. I don't think you need that. I mean, you're definitely not your team's only damage source or anything like that, but it's probably fine. And yeah, all in all, just a really well-played game by IKB. They did super well, and yeah, I definitely like them this series.
Yeah, they're a very strong team, undefeated still, 4-0 in their group, so one more game to go, and then that will be the end of that group for them. Moving on into the playoffs, but
That being said, not a whole lot more to say about this series, really. That's going to be the end of our broadcast this evening. We will be back. We have a special show for you all again tomorrow afternoon, coming your way at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's going to be in collaboration with Pro Guides. Once again, we're going to be hosting their second Pros versus Community series, best of three. That will be brought to you by myself and Baymax. So be sure to check that one out again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. And you can hang out in the Discord server beforehand, which you can find below the stream. We have some links down there. We have the Discord, the website, the YouTube, and some music credits. So be sure to check that out. If you join us on Discord, we can let you know updates about Style Esports, and you can come chat with us if you do want. We do love to hear your feedback about our casts, about our league, about anything. We're happy to chat about anything at pretty much any time. But that being said, on behalf of myself, my beautiful colorcaster, Axman87, and our gracious host, Sky Ripper, voice in our ears tonight, we thank you all so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow. Good night.